In my previous life, I fell into the water and was saved by Finnju, so I married him out of gratitude. On our wedding night, he was urgently called back to the military. He left me to take care of his 3 children from his ex-wife and his paralyzed mother-in-law. I worked in the mines to support the 3 children's education and devoted myself to serving his paralyzed mother until her passing, but after his mother was buried, these 3 stepchildren refused to acknowledge me as their stepmother and even tried to kick me out. I was already exhausted and sick, and I cried, calling them ungrateful wolves. Finnju returned at this moment with his ex-wife, beaming with joy. Nova Chang, all these years, you've been eating and living off my family. You should be grateful that my sons haven't asked you for money. We never even registered our marriage. How dare you have the nerve to stick around? It was only then that I realized Finnju and his ex-wife had faked their divorce all those years ago. They had been living happily together in the military all this time. Overwhelmed with rage, I coughed up blood, fell from the bed, and lost consciousness. They took the opportunity to drag me out of the village and left me to be mauled to death by wild dogs. Opening my eyes again, I found myself back on the day I fell into the water. In this life, I will save myself. Someone's fallen into the water. Quick, save them. I choked on a mouthful of water, certain that I had been reborn. While the sound of a splash echoed in my ears, I looked up and saw Finnju in his military uniform swimming toward me. I was as if I had seen a ghost, desperately dog-paddling in the opposite direction. You're swimming the wrong way, miss. Turn around quickly. The villagers gathered on the shore thought I was swimming in the wrong direction and shouted anxiously. They didn't know I was doing it on purpose. Finnju's vision was blurred by splashing water, and he thought I was flailing around. Nova Chang, stop moving, I'm here to save you. I had a bad feeling because in my previous life, Finnju didn't speak at this moment. He had been reborn, sure enough. Finnju's surprised voice came through. You actually know how to swim. In my previous life, I drowned and was saved by him. He always thought I was a landlubber. Now, the sound of splashing water was getting closer and closer. He was about to catch up with me. In a panic, I decided to take a gamble. I plunged underwater and swam in a direction where Finnju couldn't see me. Seeing me suddenly sink underwater, Finnju anxiously dove in after me and grabbed my calf. I felt as if a venomous snake had coiled around me, my chest so suffocated it was about to burst. Was he trying to drown me? I panicked and thrashed wildly, and suddenly my legs were freed. I quickly surfaced, gasping for air as I swam toward the shore. A sharp-eyed villager spotted me. She swam up on her own. Finnju had just surfaced to catch his breath and turned to look when he heard the sound. I was shivering from the cold, and when I turned around to see Finnju reaching the shore, I glared at him with hatred. A complex look flashed in Finnju's eyes as he climbed ashore. Nova Chang, I didn't expect you to be such a good swimmer, he said and was about to pull me. I was so scared that my scalp tingled. I grabbed a passing woman and shouted at him, "Don't touch me." Finnju felt a bit awkward. With more people gathering around, he had no choice but to withdraw his hand. I stood up trembling, and Finnju came over again, trying to pull me. "Sir, I don't know you. Please show some self-respect." Finnju was repeatedly rejected, and his expression turned ugly. "Sorry, I'm a soldier and was anxious to save a life. Just now, seeing you drowning, I offended you underwater and frightened you. How could such words not be misunderstood?" Sure enough, some men started whistling. This is a hero saving a beauty. The only way to repay the kindness is to offer myself in return. I didn't expect Finnju to pull this trick on me. How despicable, sir. You can't just say things like that. The water was murky just now. Are you sure it was me you touched? At that moment, some villagers noticed the injury on Finnju's hand. Miss, he risked his life to save you, and you even scratched his hands. If it weren't for him, you would have drowned long ago. I recalled that when Finnju grabbed my calf, I did kick him a few times. Who said I was drowning? Besides, there are so many rocks at the bottom of the water, so it's possible he got his hands scratched by them. Moreover, I surfaced and reached the shore before he did. I saved myself. How could it be him who saved me? Finnju felt a bit awkward. Nova Chang, we're from the same village. My name is Finnju. I was just worried you might catch a cold and wanted to walk you home. Finnju was clearly trying to stall me. There must be something suspicious going on. I was afraid he might try to force a hug, and if someone from the village saw, it would be hard to explain. I turned and ran. Finnju wanted to chase after me, but the aunt grabbed him and started asking all sorts of questions. "Oh my, young man, are you in the military? Are you married yet?" Seeing that Finnju wasn't following, I ran all the way to the village entrance with my heart in my throat, and sure enough, I saw Suyi receiving a document envelope from the postman. I widened my eyes and shouted, "Suyi, how dare you claim my college admission letter? In my previous life, I drowned. And Finnju saved me, in front of everyone. He carried me ashore with one arm around my chest." The news quickly spread throughout the village. And everyone had something to say whenever they saw me. "Nova Chang, saving a life means I should offer myself in marriage." My mother couldn't withstand the pressure and agreed to the matchmaking arranged by Finnju's matchmaker. Finnju quickly set up a wedding banquet. But that very night he was urgently recalled to his military unit. I stayed behind to take care of his 3 sons from his previous marriage, as well as his mother who had been paralyzed for many years. Everything happened so fast at that time, I didn't even think about my college admission letter. To keep food on the table for the family, I went up the mountain to carry ore. Once, the mine collapsed, and though I survived, one of my legs was crushed. The mine paid for the medical expenses. But with 3 sons to send to school, I barely took time to recover before buying broad beans in town, grinding them late at night to make jelly, and selling it door to door in the village during the day. Everyone in the village said I was a good wife. A bowl of cold jelly for 50 cents, it actually helped me scrape together the tuition fees for my 3 children. Once when I passed by Su Yi's house, her friend called out Nova Chang, and I thought she was calling me, "A bowl of cold jelly, please." I was shabbily dressed and limping. Watching the city girls my age who were dressed so elegantly, and I fumbled nervously while serving the cold jelly. Su Yi sat in the courtyard watching me, also dressed elegantly and looking radiant with a healthy glow. After the children went to college, my mother-in-law, who had been bedridden for most of her life, finally passed away. I wore mourning clothes, bought her a coffin, and arranged the funeral. On a rainy day, I followed the funeral procession up the mountain to bury her, kowtowing and weeping until I fainted. I have a deadly disease, tuberculosis. Who would have thought that after the funeral, all 3 children were in a hurry to go back to school and even got angry with me. "You lung disease ghost, just die sooner. You're not our mother anyway, why should we treat you?" I almost couldn't catch my breath and burst into loud sobs. "I've raised 3 ungrateful wretches. I worked like a beast of burden carrying or just to earn your tuition money, and ended up with a broken leg. I woke up early and worked late selling cold noodles to put you through college, and it made me sick from exhaustion. Now that all 3 of you have bright futures ahead, you won't even acknowledge me as your mother. How heartless." My 3 children flushed with shame. And just as we were at a standoff, Finnju suddenly pushed the door open and entered with Suyi. "Nova Chang, how dare you claim to be the mother of my 3 sons? Their mother is my wife. You and I never got a marriage certificate. What kind of mother are you supposed to be?" My lips trembling, I stared at Finnju, then looked at Suyi in shock. "What do you mean we never got a marriage certificate? And Suyi is your wife?" Suyi had an elegant demeanor, wearing the trendiest red pointed toe high heels, with lipstick on and her hair neatly styled, and I, lying in bed with sunken eyes from long illness, gaunt and sallow, looking like a wreck. It suddenly dawned on me that they had a fake divorce. No wonder all these years I wrote letters to Finnju, but he kept making excuses that the military missions were too busy and he would get the marriage certificate when he had time to return. Furious and agitated, I coughed violently as if trying to cough up my lungs. My throat itched, and I spat out blood and fell off the bed. They took the opportunity to lift me onto a cart, dragged me out of the village overnight, and dumped me in the graveyard. I was awakened by the pain of 6 wild dogs gnawing at my hands and feet, and my throat was bitten open with a large hole. In my last glimpse, my mother, with her white hair, came crying to find me, picked up stones to drive away the wild dogs, but couldn't stop the blood flowing from my throat. I lay in my mother's arms, blinked, and breathed my last. Suyi trembled all over from my shout, staring at me in shock. "Nova Chang, what brings you here? Taking advantage of Su Yi's daze, I rushed over and snatched the document folder from her hand. With her hands now empty, Su Yi looked over unwillingly. "This is mine. Give it back to me." I let out a cold laugh. "What do you mean yours, Su Yi? Are you sure?" Su Yi suddenly realized. And the postman was looking at her in surprise. I just wanted to help you keep it for now. I heard you fell into the water, so you probably didn't have time to come." I realized something was wrong. "Su Yi, the lake is quite far from here. How did you know I fell into the water?" Su Yi stammered, trying to come up with an excuse, but couldn't find the words. I stared at the postman who was watching the scene unfold. "Brother, how could you just hand my university admission letter to someone else?" The postman's face changed. She stopped me and said it was hers, so I gave it to her. I was running so fast that I was barely holding back the urge to vomit. "Then I'll open it right now and see if this admission letter has my name, Nova Chang, or Su Yi's on it. If it's my name, I'm going to sue you for giving my university admission letter to someone else without my permission." The postman realized I wasn't easy to fool. Su Yi turned pale, suddenly snatched the document from my hand, and ran off. "Nova Chang, this is my university admission letter. If anyone's going to open it, it's going to be me." I was shocked and rushed to grab her. "Su Yi, don't you dare tear it." I grabbed Su Yi's long braid. She wasn't strong enough to fight me off and frantically yelled for the postman to help. While the postman hesitated, a furious shout came from the distance. "Nova Chang, let go of Su Yi." Finnju caught up, furious, and threw me into the roadside paddy ditch. Su Yi was quite startled and quickly whispered, "What's going on? Why is she here?" Finnju looked grim. I didn't expect her to know how to swim. I got up from the paddy ditch, holding the file bag, wiped the blood from my forehead, and cursed inwardly. Finnju is a real piece of work. I quickly opened the document in front of them, and the admission letter neatly displayed my name. My eyes reddened. In my past life, Su Yi had truly stolen my life. "Su Yi, you stole my college admission letter, and when I caught you, you tried to tear it up. If you can't steal my future, you'll just destroy it." Su Yi, supported by Finnju, trembled as she looked at me. "Nova Chang, I really thought this was my university acceptance letter. I wasn't trying to tear it, I just opened it too hastily. Since it's yours, I'm just holding on to it temporarily for you. It's not like I won't return it." I let out a cold laugh. "Su Yi, we don't even know each other. What gives you the right to hold on to my things for me?" I stared fearlessly into Finnju's eyes, which looked as if he wanted to devour me. "And you? How is it such a coincidence that you were right there when I fell into the water? We don't know each other, yet you were willing to risk your life to save me on such a cold day." Finnju pursed his lips tightly, his gaze wandering. "I just happened to be passing by and heard someone fall into the water, so I jumped in. I'm a soldier. Saving people is what I should do." The mail carrier got on his bicycle to leave. I quickly grabbed his bicycle with sharp eyes. "You are not allowed to leave. Su Yi falsely claimed my university admission letter. You must testify for me, or I will sue you for giving my admission letter to someone else." Seeing this, Finnju walked over and gave the postman a meaningful look. "Nova Chang, let go of their bicycle. They still have more letters to deliver." Su Yi stepped in and directly grabbed my hand to pull me away. I was alone, feeling both angry and anxious, suddenly overwhelmed by despair. "You little brats, how dare you bully my Nova?" Tears streamed down my face as my mom arrived, seeing me crying in distress and with blood still on my forehead. My mother instantly flew into a rage and rushed over, slapping Su Yi across the face. My mother works in the fields planting rice, so you can imagine the strength in her hands. "You wretched woman, how dare you bully my Nova?" Su Yi's grip loosened, and she spun around like a top from the blow. Finnju quickly caught her in his arms. Su Yi's face swelled up in an instant. "Finnju is trending. You old shrew, how dare you hit someone? Don't you know that's illegal?" My mother's aggressive stance didn't waver at all. The matchmaker she brought, seeing the situation turning sour, quickly stepped in to mediate. "Oh my, isn't this Finnju? Why are you and your ex-wife causing trouble with Nova Chang? It must all be a misunderstanding." Su Yi covered her face and lowered her head. "As soon as I heard it, it was a misunderstanding. Truly ridiculous. Mom, Nova Chang deceived the postman to fraudulently claim my university admission letter, and Finnju came specifically to help her." I stared at Finnju again. You say hitting someone is illegal, but you just pushed me and made me break my forehead. That means you knowingly broke the law. Finnju was so angry that the veins on his forehead were throbbing. The matchmaker was stunned. Finnju, you were the one who asked me to arrange a match for you. Now that you've hit Nova Chang, it's going to be hard to form an alliance. It might even turn into enmity. My mother, still fuming, shielded me and pointed an accusing finger at Finnju, scolding him. So you're Finnju, on one hand. You're sending matchmakers to arrange a marriage for our Nova, and on the other, you're helping your ex-wife steal Nova's admission letter. You're divorced, yet you're still paving the way for your ex-wife. How dare you gang up to bully our Nova? I'll fight you to the death. I remembered that when I fell into the water, it was clearly because someone kicked me down. Mom, I'm going to college. Even if I were to marry, it would have to wait until after I finish university. Let alone the fact that Finnju is already divorced. Besides, Finnju and Suyi never got divorced. Finnju's face changed dramatically, and he quickly denied it. Nova Chang, you fell into the water today, and I kindly saved you. As soon as you got ashore, you ran off. I chased after you. And you were hitting Suyi. You claim she stole your college admission letter. That's a vicious slander. I am a soldier, and if you accuse me of faking a divorce, you'd better think about the consequences. I looked coldly at Finnju. Whether you two are really divorced or not, you know the truth in your hearts. You say you saved me, but the whole village saw that I saved myself. It had nothing to do with you, yet you keep trying to hug and hold me again and again. If you think I'm falsely accusing you of not being divorced, then let's go to the Civil Affairs Bureau to check. Do you and Suyi dare? Finnju and Suyi were visibly flustered, their faces full of guilt. My mother also caught on. So, you, Finnju, aren't even divorced yet. You're trying to ruin my Nova's reputation so the matchmaker can smoothly arrange a marriage. You're scheming to trick Nova into slaving away for your 3 sons and taking care of your paralyzed mother. And you, that wretched Suyi, trying to steal my daughter's future to go to college. How vicious-hearted you are. At that moment, some villagers arrived, accompanied by officers from the local police station. I was overjoyed. Mom, let's call the police and report Finnju for marriage fraud. Finnju panicked, then suddenly laughed. Just in time. My childhood friend is at the police station. Suyi was initially frightened but quickly regained her confidence. Nova Chang, I really thought it was my admission letter at the time, so I asked the mail carrier to give it to me. After saying this, she looked at the mail carrier with a pitiful expression. Little brother, you agree, right? The postman scratched his head in confusion. No, at that time you said you went to college, and I asked if you were Nova Chang, and you nodded. I'm sure I didn't remember it wrong. The matchmaker listened for a while and finally caught on. Finnju, if you really aren't divorced, you can't ruin Nova Chang's life, and you'll also destroy my reputation as a matchmaker. The matchmaker, afraid of Finnju, didn't dare to say more and could only look at Suyi. How could you falsely claim someone else's admission letter? If this spreads in the village, your mother will be shamed and criticized. But before the matchmaker could finish speaking, let's see who dares to point fingers at me. Suyi's mother rushed over, followed menacingly by her 2 brothers carrying shoulder poles. Suyi immediately burst into tears and loudly complained, Mom, Nova Chang's mother hit me. Upon hearing this, Aunt Su rushed toward my mother in a fury. You wretched woman, how dare you hit my daughter? My husband is still around, and I'll fight you to the death. My mother spat at her while rubbing her hands together. I'm not as thin-skinned as my Nova. You old hag, you're clearly no good. I was just about to settle the score with you, and here you come crawling over first. I watched as Suyi's 2 younger brothers grabbed carrying poles and rushed over, ready to help beat my mother. Recalling my past life, I settled old and new grudges together. I took off my shoe and threw it at the faces of Suyi's 2 younger brothers, instantly causing their noses to bleed. Suyi screamed and tried to scratch my face, but I was prepared and slapped her across the face. Suyi was stunned by the blow. Ah, how dare you and your mother hit my face? I'll scratch your face to pieces. The scene was chaotic for a moment, and Finnju quickly stepped in to stop his 2 brothers-in-law. At that moment, a villager's loud shout was heard. Stop fighting, everyone. The police are here. A young man in uniform walked over and pulled Suyi's hand away from my hair. Finnju didn't recognize this police officer and assumed he was new. Comrade, you're from the local police station, Right, I know your captain. Nangongyang glanced at everyone present. I am the chief of the police station in the neighboring district. My name is Nangongyang. I was passing by after work when I heard someone had fallen into the water, and I came over to see you fighting. Just now, I heard someone wanted to call the police. Who was it? I glanced at Finnju. I want to report a crime. I'm accusing Suyi of stealing my university admission letter. And someone intentionally kicked me into the water, trying to harm me. Officer, the area where I fell into the water is under your jurisdiction. Finnju visibly panicked. Nova Chang, stop talking nonsense. You lost your footing and fell into the water because there were too many people on the shore. I was just trying to help you. And now you're suspecting that I staged this and pushed you in myself. I was well prepared. I never said it was you. Someone kicked me hard at that time. And I must have bruises. I can go to the hospital to get the injuries examined. Also, someone must have seen who did it. Now, Suyi's family started to panic as well. Suyi's two younger brothers, with their noses still bleeding, had been surrounding my mother and me with carrying poles. If the police hadn't arrived, I would have been worried about being outnumbered and at a disadvantage. My mother stood with her hands on her hips, continuing to yell at Suyi's mother. You're Suyi's mother, thinking you can hit people just because you have two sons. Let's see who dares lay a finger on me today. When I was carrying a shoulder pole and hoe, you two little brats were still tadpoles looking for your mom to be reborn. Suyi's two younger brothers, around 12 or 13 years old, blushed instantly and didn't dare say a word after holding it in for a long time. Su's mother wouldn't stand for it. Seeing Suyi's swollen face and her two sons' bloody noses, she started shouting back at my mom, "You widow who brought death upon your husband. Even your own daughter was groped all over by a man after falling into the water. I think it's you who can't stay in this village any longer." I was startled. Auntie Su's arrival had been suspicious from the start, and how did she find out in such a short time? How did you know I was groped all over by a man? Auntie Su turned to look at my drenched state, then glanced at Finnju, who was also soaked, and suddenly smiled. My son ran home and told me that no man in the village will ever want you from now on. I ignored her. Officer, I am willing to take legal responsibility for what I said. I demand that a case be filed for investigation. Nangongyang looked at me seriously. Since you've reported this to the police, all of you will come with me to the police station. Suyi's face changed dramatically. I also want to call the police. Nova Chang and his mother injured me and my brother. Finnju quickly spoke up to help. Comrade, I'm from the military and I know a bit about your procedures. My ex-wife and the others want to report this, and we need to do it at the police station in our own district. The villagers immediately erupted in an uproar. Finnju just said he knows the captain of the local police station. If he goes there, he'll just give them 2 packs of cigarettes and a bottle of liquor, and they'll side with him. Isn't this clearly bullying? I was well aware of the seriousness of the situation. If the local police were called in, things would get complicated. I immediately said to Nangongyang, I called the police first. Even if they want to report it, you should handle my case first now. Nangongyang was accompanied by 2 colleagues and immediately tried to take Yizi's family away. Suyi held on to Finnju, pleading for help and refusing to leave. Hurry up and think of something. Finnju also knew that if it wasn't at the local police station, he couldn't protect Suyi at all, and some things might even implicate him. Nova Chang, I don't know why you're targeting Suyi and insisting on reporting it to the neighboring police station. You don't want to marry me. And I never said I had to marry you. Also, you injured Suyi and her brother. If the police station really files a case, you'll also be held criminally responsible. I've been bullied since I was young. And I have a strong temperament. I can't stand being threatened. Finnju, you reminded me. I also need to sue you for pushing me and causing a forehead injury. You won't get away with it either. Finnju's forehead veins bulged, and he clenched his fists without saying another word. Nangongyang looked at Finnju. Since the person who called the police has spoken, comrade, let's go together. Upon arriving at the police station, Nangongyang came in person and said that Suyi's family intended to sue my mother and me for physically assaulting them and causing injuries, accusing us of intentional harm. In such cases, we generally classify it as mutual assault. Finnju injured you, while Suyi stole your university admission letter, and the postman has confirmed it. Since you insisted on filing a case, they are willing to settle and offer compensation. I thought I was in for a tough battle. But I didn't expect them to back down so quickly. Chief, do you know how they plan to compensate? Finnju came in at this moment. He applied to come for a face-to-face talk. Nova Chang, I'll give you 250 as compensation. I let out a cold, mocking laugh. Finnju, who are you insulting? After saying that, I stood up and left. Finnju became anxious. 300. That's all I have. Thinking back to how their family treated me in my past life, this isn't about the money. I kept walking without stopping. 600. This is all the money I have. I stopped in my tracks. This was a huge sacrifice. It seems he really wants to reconcile. Finnju, is this 600 compensation for you injuring me, or for Suyi stealing my admission letter? Finnju turned around and glared at me. Nova Chang, don't be ungrateful. 600 is not a small amount. How much is my monthly salary, and how much is your family's annual income? I glared back at him. Finnju, if you want me to forgive Suyi, she has to come and tell me herself. Finnju went out dejectedly, and soon, Suyi and her mother came over reluctantly. In contrast to their being caught off guard and looking uneasy, I was well prepared. I looked at Suyi and got straight to the point. Finnju hurt me and offered 600 to settle the matter. You stole my admission letter. How do you plan to compensate and resolve this? Suyi and her mother were instantly outraged upon hearing this. 600. Finnju, where did you get so much money? Finnju quickly went over to calm them down. I immediately gave this family a thoughtful reminder. Suyi, if you want me to forgive you, it's not impossible. Compensation plus an apology. Suyi and her mother looked miserable. We don't have any money left. If you want money, we don't have it. If you want a life, we only have one. At most, we can give you another 100. I wasn't angry either, and I looked at Nangong Yang, director. I've changed my mind. I request to file the case. Finnju panicked. He was about to return to the military for a promotion. 1,000. Suyi and I will compensate you together. My mom was drinking water, her eyes lighting up. 1,000 was a huge sum of money. Suyi immediately went crazy. Finnju, you only earn a few dozen yuan a month, and our annual income isn't much either. How can we give them so much money? I calmly added. And Suyi has to walk through the village with a loudspeaker to apologize for stealing my admission letter. This time, Aunt Sue was completely outraged. Nova Chang, no way, you can ask my daughter to apologize to you, but a public apology is out of the question. How could she and our family ever hold their heads up again after that? Finnju held the sobbing Suyi and whispered something in her ear. I probably knew what they were saying. If I refused to settle, the police station would detain her for at least 15 days, and her reputation would be ruined anyway. After all, she and Finnju are not divorced. If I don't forgive him, I'll still be detained. By the time I can't return to the military and they find out, he'll be in even bigger trouble. Suyi looked up at me, said a few words to her mother, and reluctantly agreed in humiliation. Seeing that we had reached an agreement, Nangong Yang had someone bring a pen. Since you've reached a settlement, sign the papers to close the case. I picked up the pen, hesitated for a moment, and immediately voiced my concerns. Finnju and Suyi have not yet fulfilled their promises of compensation and apology. I dare not sign this document now. Finnju is about to return to the military, and Suyi has 2 brothers in her family. There's no guarantee they won't go back on their word and cause trouble for my family. I'll sign only when they fulfill their promises. Finnju had no choice but to take Suyi and her mother outside to persuade them before returning. We're going to the credit union to withdraw money now, and we'll give it to you right away. My mom and I sat at the police station, waiting patiently. Soon, Finnju and Suyi returned. My mom, her hands trembling, took the 1,000 yuan. Excitedly, she licked her fingers with saliva and began counting the money 1 bill at a time. Nova, I've counted it. This 1,000 yuan. Not a single cent is missing. Suyi and her mother stared longingly at the 1,000 yuan in my mother's hand, hugging each other and crying in anguish. Finnju stared at me with a grim expression. Nova Chang, Suyi will deliver the apology tomorrow. If you're worried, you can personally go and supervise. I wasn't worried about Suyi going back on her word, so I picked up the pen and signed without hesitation, officially closing the case. My mom and I left first. ready to go home and get a good night's sleep. My mom was in a good mood and made me a bowl of poached eggs. As I ate, tears fell. Living a second life, looking at everything familiar at home felt like being trapped in a nightmare I couldn't wake up from. The fortunate thing is, when I woke up, I was still alive. Early the next morning, my mom woke me up in a hurry. "Nova, wake up quickly. Mom just went to Su Yi's house to check, and her mom said she's not home. I even looked around her house on purpose, and she's long gone." That damn woman went back on her word. I comforted my mom, telling her to stay calm. I had a feeling that Su Yi agreed so quickly because Finnju must have given her the idea. Sure enough, after my mom and I finished breakfast, we hurried over to Finnju's house and found that he was gone too. I have already written the report letter. The content is that Finnju, as a soldier, conspired with Su Yi to fake a divorce, plotted to push me into the water, and staged a rescue to save me, with the intention of marrying me through deception. Additionally, Su Yi fraudulently claimed my university admission letter, and the police station has already filed a case. A week after sending the letter, I helped my mother feed the chickens and transplant rice seedlings in the fields every day, happily waiting for the start of the school term. Soon, someone from the military came to investigate. Nangong Yang came to my home with the leader of the Finnju troops. My mother was startled at the time and rushed to find me in a hurry. "Nova, stop transplanting the rice seedlings. That director from last time is here with the leader of the Finnju troops to see you." I quickly got out of the paddy field and hurried home with my mother. As soon as I entered the courtyard, I saw Nangong Yang in casual clothes, accompanied by two men who had a military demeanor, also dressed in casual attire. Nangong Yang smiled immediately upon seeing me. "Nova Chang, you mentioned last time that you were deliberately kicked into the water. After our investigation, the two Su Yi brothers confessed. It was Finnju and the Su Yi couple who came up with the idea. They first spread the news of a fake divorce, had Su Yi's brother kick you into the water, and then Finnju pretended to just happen to pass by and jumped in to save you. His purpose in doing all this was to let the villagers see that rescuing you with such intimate contact would spread rumors, ensuring that the matchmaker he hired could persuade your mother to agree. This way, Su Yi could take your college admission letter and go to university." Upon hearing this, my mother was so angry that she threw down the broom. "That pair of blood-sucking scoundrels, I really didn't curse them enough last time." One of the two soldiers standing beside Nangong Yang spoke up. "Comrade Nova Chang, hello, I am Finnju's company commander. After receiving your report, I immediately decided to come in person. Finnju was originally going to be promoted to squad leader this time. If he really did something like this, it absolutely cannot be allowed. The soldiers under my command are absolutely not permitted to have such terrible character and conduct issues. I came here specifically to investigate the entire situation thoroughly. Once verified, it will be dealt with seriously." I felt a deep sense of respect. Truly, he is a soldier who defends the nation. As a fellow soldier, Finnju is nothing but a rotten apple. Nangong Yang and company commander Finnju exchanged a few more words before leaving. Nangong Yang looked at me with a half-smile. "Nova Chang, did you anticipate that Su Yi wouldn't apologize? And were you even more certain that Finnju would take Su Yi with him?" I looked completely innocent. "Director, I was forced into this situation. Since Finnju dared to fake a divorce and set me up to fall into the water in an attempt to trick me into marriage, reporting him was exactly what he deserved." Nangong Yang laughed out loud. "Nova Chang, I heard you got into the Provincial Police Academy. What a coincidence. I graduated from there too." No wonder I found Nangong Yang so likable. Not only is he upright and honest, but he's also handsome, and we went to the same university. It's no surprise I felt an instant connection with him. My mom, who was feeding the chickens, burst into laughter when she heard this. "Director, how old are you? Are you married?" I was extremely embarrassed. "Mom, why are you asking these things?" Nangong Yang, however, didn't mind. "Auntie, I'm 28 this year. I had a girlfriend from the city during college, but we broke up. My mom is now busy setting me up on blind dates everywhere. Nova Chang, I'm practically your senior. If you ever need any help in the future, feel free to come to me." Junior sister, my mom was overjoyed. Nova's father passed away from tuberculosis when she was 8. As a rural woman, it hasn't been easy for me, so she started school late. She's 20 this year. So, when you think about it, there isn't much of an age gap between you two. The more I listened, the more I felt something was wrong, so I quickly ran into the house. A few days later, Suyi returned to the village and, carrying a loudspeaker, apologized all the way from her house to mine. With the whole village coming out to watch the commotion, Suyi told me that not only was Finnju not promoted to squad leader, but he was also discharged from the military early. Finnju was too ashamed to return to the village and went to the city to find work. Suyi stayed behind to take care of the 3 sons and serve her paralyzed mother-in-law. In September, I carried large and small bags, and my mother sent me off to the provincial capital to attend university with a joyful heart. But for some unknown reason, Finnju suddenly came to my school to look for me. After not seeing him for several months, Finnju no longer had the high spirits of before, with a stubbly beard, dark circles under his eyes, and wearing shabby, patched clothes instead of his military uniform. He looked like a lost and dejected dog. Nova-chan, I'm currently driving a truck for work and happened to be passing by your school, so I thought I'd come see you. I bought you some snacks. As he spoke, he opened the plastic bag. Want rice crackers, want milk, white rabbit creamy candies, alpenliebe lollipops, spicy strips, bananas, and apples. I didn't take it, looking at Finnju warily. Sorry, but we're not that close, are we? And these things you bought must have cost quite a bit. Send them back for Suyi and your child to enjoy. Finnju saw that I was about to leave and quickly stopped me. Startled, I flinched, and he hurriedly shoved the items into my hands. Finnju, what are you doing? If you keep this up, I'll call the police. Finnju's eyes were bloodshot with exhaustion. Nova-chan, the day you fell into the water, I knew you also remembered the events of our past life. I couldn't come to see you empty-handed. Buying these things has no other meaning. Just think of it as my guilty conscience trying to make amends. These are all things girls like to eat, and they don't cost much. Please, just take them. I laughed in exasperation. Finnju, you ruined me in my past life. And now that you've failed to harm me in this one, aren't you afraid that Suyi will find out and divorce you? Finnju lowered his head. Suyi couldn't bear the hardships in the village and ran away long ago. My mother also passed away from anger. I just returned from handling the funeral arrangements and am now busy gathering tuition for my 3 sons. Nova-chan, I know you look down on me now and won't forgive me. It's only now that I've come to see my own heart clearly. I like you, Finnju. You're unwilling to accept how things have turned out for you. My life is good now. And I don't want to have anything to do with you anymore. If you truly feel guilty, you shouldn't have come to see me. Just then, a female classmate passed by. Nova-chan, is this person here to sell something? Don't buy anything. There are a lot of scammers these days. Let's go, we're going to have lunch. Times had changed. A look of embarrassment flashed across Finnju's face, and he slunk away in disgrace. My name is Nan Gongqing. I'm 1 year ahead of you. And my cousin is called Nan Gongyang. My brother told me about you. I didn't expect we'd meet so soon. By the way, my brother is still waiting for us to have lunch. Nan Gongqing pulled me into a restaurant, and Nan Gongyang had already ordered the food. I was utterly astonished. How come you're here? Nan Gongyang felt a bit embarrassed. I came to bring some local specialties from home to my cousin, and we're just having lunch together before I leave. I was afraid you might be hungry. So I ordered a few dishes first. Let me know if there's anything else you'd like to eat. Nan Gongqing pulled me to sit down, laughing uncontrollably at the menu booklet in front of me. Cousin, did you only bring me delicious food? Who was it that saw someone bothering Nova-chan and got so anxious that they sent me over? While watching worriedly from the side, my face instantly burned with embarrassment. Senior, thank you. When Nan Gongyang left, he gave me a big bag of food. All made by his mother. Pork buns, yellow rice cakes, sweet fermented rice, and eggs. These things couldn't be stored for long, so Nan Gongqing often took me to secretly cook them over a wood fire at school. The year I graduated, after taking graduation photos, Nan Gongyang was waiting for me on a lady's motorcycle, saying it was a gift for me to make commuting in the city easier. Although big cities are nice, I want to spend a few more years with my mom and take good care of her. I was assigned to work at the village police station, and my mom said I was foolish for leaving the countryside only to come back again. Nan Gongyang happened to come to my house with gifts to congratulate me. My mom smiled and quickly took the gifts. too busy to express her regrets to me. Nangong Yang and I confirmed our romantic relationship. At first, he was afraid I would dislike him for being older, which made me laugh uncontrollably. Soon, both families found out. Nangong Yang's parents were so happy that they sent a matchmaker to my house to propose. That's when I recognized her. She was the aunt who had stopped Finnju when I fell into the water. My mother joyfully agreed and immediately brought out several quilts she had prepared for my wedding, along with a hand-embroidered 3-piece bedding set. On the wedding day, I cried uncontrollably, and my mother was even more emotional, weeping as if she couldn't bear to part. Both families hosted a grand banquet for the entire village, celebrating for 3 full days. Nangong Yang, dressed in a black Zhongshan suit as the groom with a large red flower pinned to his chest, personally helped me out of the bridal sedan chair. We held hands tightly, fingers interlocked, and stepped over the fire pan together. We bowed to both sets of parents in turn. My mother cried tears of joy, while my mother-in-law happily drank the name-changing tea and gave me a large red envelope.